between, so we get to talk and chatter all the way through. I know tonight it's going to be just me, which is relatively uncomfortable. I'm not used to that role. I prefer to talk to some folks, get your ideas, and see how we can help or connect the dots so that you can do something about issues upon which you're concerned. But for my regular audience, we've got a couple of meetings coming up next week. The Northwest Constitutional Coalition meeting will be January the 21st. On the San Antonio Tea Party website, it says it's at Henry's Puffy Tacos, but in chatting with the leader of that group, Sal, last night, I understand that that's incorrect, so it needs to be updated. But you can, so I'm sure it'll get updated on the website. Same night, fortunately or unfortunately, January the 21st, there will be a Southside group meeting, which is an excellent, very active group. And they always meet at Carino's Italian on Military Drive down on the south side. So if you'd like to reach out and have a bite to eat with some like-minded folks and find out what you can do to move the ball forward in terms of the conservative movement, that's where you can go. And also on the local front, there are a couple of things that have been brought to my attention lately. One of them having to do with local elections. There's going to be a special election, I think it's in May, that pits. It's for, I believe it's District 9 City Council, where Elisa Chan resigned, and a gentleman was appointed under the agreement that he would not then turn around and run for office, which he has subsequently recanted and decided that it's just too important and there's too much going on, so he's going to run. His opponent is a gentleman that I've had on the show prior to his announcement to do that, by the name of Weston Martinez. And you need to reach out to Weston. You can Google his name and the name of a couple of organizations that he's involved with. And I'm sure if I had a telephone right now, Weston would be on it, because he's one of my more loyal followers. So, Weston, I apologize for you not being able to call in and tell us where you're doing. But I want the word out there that Mr. Martinez is a staunch conservative that could use your support in that upcoming special city council race, because we need some more folks on the city council to kind of balance things out. There's another gentleman, a former city councilman by the name of Carlton Souls, that is running for county office in a highly contested race. He's up against some pretty formidable folks, and I'm sure that Carlton would appreciate your support. I think he's planning to make the rounds of the various local groups, these group meetings that I announce, and introduce himself, so those of you who don't know him will get to know him and can ask him some questions. But Carlton, I don't know since the note says that he's got some formidable opponents. I assume he's in the race with Nelson Wolf, and who's the incumbent, and one other guy. And one of our more frequent callers, and a gentleman that really puts it out there, gives a lot of thought to what he's doing. He's a very active individual. Gentleman by the name of Detroit Ron. Since he knew he wasn't going to be able to call in tonight, he did want me to bring up 2 points. Number one is that as a result of some executive orders that are coming down, and we'll talk about the number of those that are coming and have been and will be, and that there is an entire industry that has developed providing part-time immigration labor. Mostly they're attacking the food service business, because as a result of Obamacare, The food service industry has really taken a major hit in terms of what they can do to maintain their profitability in terms of how they have to manage the folks that work there. The first thing is they had to reduce all their hours. It's just it doesn't have the kind of margins that's required to support the current rules. And so there's a whole industry providing help to food service providers that'll help them get around the requirements of the law and not meet with the wrath of anyone else. So basically they're taking jobs away from young American citizens who have just had their hours reduced and helping pay for those with subsidies and benefits that the rest of us provide. The other thing that I'm just going to mention it here, and we'll dive into it a little bit deeper. Ron, let me give you a perfect example of connecting the dots. Mr. Detroit Ron did it for us, and I would be remiss if I didn't pass it along. Are you aware that the United Auto Workers, the UAW, the most formidable union in the United States, and remember his name's Detroit Ron. So this is a subject about which he knows on firsthand knowledge, not just some Google research he did. But the UAW, first of all, is highly Democratic in their candidate support. They gave $1.5 billion, that's billion with a B, to Democrat candidates during the last election. $1.5 billion. So one of Detroit Ron's criteria is, one of his very first questions of any candidate for office is, what kind of a car do you drive? Pretty simple. And not all brands are the same. I'm not going to take sides. I'm just going to tell you that if you want to reduce, if you do not want to contribute some of your dollars to the Democrat side that you're probably not too happy with, then you need to be careful what kind of a new car you're purchasing. Doesn't have nearly as much impact if you buy used cars or yada, yada, yada. It's only in the new car world, because once the new car is bought, then the UAW is out of the mix, so to speak. But the point is, that's a matter of connecting the dots. That's a huge chunk of change on a national basis. And that's something that anyone can do on a local basis, is figure out, make your money count. Make your money count both positively and negatively. Spend it wisely. Don't have it come back to haunt you. Okay? So I thank Detroit Ron for that information and that perfect example of connecting the dots from a national scale to a local scale. Okay. We're going to have some elections coming up. We've got the primaries in March. My bad. And then I think there's quite a few races where we are and probably where you are, but that will wind up with runoffs. We just need to get involved and stay involved. This is 2014. It's going to be a long, hard slug. I found something in the matter of preparing for the show tonight that I thought you might be interested in. It's about Bexar County voter registration figures. Now, this is just local, but if you're not local, then go to your county, go to your county's website, go to your city's website, go to what's important to you, and take a look at the voter registration figures, because you will get the same sort of information, and it's very, very critical that you know these numbers. Let's just say locally in 1990, the last numbers that I have are for 2010. So 20 years ago, there were 513,000 registered voters in Bexar County. There are currently 905,000 as of 2010. All right. Out of those 513, 228 and change voted, or 44.56%. All right. And in 2010, 33.57 voted. So that's 11% down. Now, it does make a difference if it's a presidential year. So in 2008, as compared to 2010, I just told you, 33.57% voted in 2010, 56.46 voted in 2008. You following me through this? 2006 was 30%. 2004 was 52%. So we all know that the presidential election years bring high voter turnout. Look at that the other way around. That means in this election we have coming up in 2014, it's not a presidential election. We have a chance to make our vote count to a far greater degree when only 30 or 35% of the people are voting. The fewer total votes there are, the greater value of any one individual vote. Simple math. So then 2096 and 92. So, and see, in 1992, 71% of the voters in Bexar County turned out. 71%. That's the highest number. And the lowest number was in 1998. Again, a non-presidential year, then it was 27.75. So unless there's a local issue that really stirs them up and brings them to the poll, then you've got almost a 2-to-1 return on your vote. In other words, if half the number of people vote in this off year, you've got a 2-to-1 return on your vote. Okay, that takes care of local. And as the show goes digital, it's going to be much broader and it's going to get much bigger. So the local, but you can still extrapolate a lot of the information you get locally to wherever you are. In other words, you can convert it. You can find like-minded folks. As we get the phone, hopefully we'll start getting calls from all over the place and we'll find out what's going on elsewhere, which is very important. That those are more dots that we can then connect. I'm sure you've heard of Mark Levin. Mr. Levin is probably real glad that I'm no longer available on Wednesday nights, so that it doesn't conflict with his program. He put out a post that said, "We are witnessing a coup." This is the language of a dictator. What he's referring to is, and I bring stuff to you that I really don't know whether is in the mainstream media, whether it's reported on CBS, NBC, or whether it's even on Fox News. I just don't I don't have the time, nor do I trouble myself with that input. I rely on strictly on the internet, on the conservative movement. There's an awful lot of very valid information that usually turns out to be quite true once it gets around to being reported by the mainstream media. So what Mr. Levin is talking about, this coup and the language of a dictator, is he says that Obama telegraphs that he intends to proceed with the dictatorship in full force. Okay? And what he's talking about, and their focus for this 2014 election is they being the Democratic Party, is that income inequality and the essential unfairness in America. In other words, I see them